The first talk for the next session would be on CT head in emergencies, to be delivered by Dr. Debasis Das Adhikari. Dr. Debasis Das Adhikari is the Professor of Pediatric Emergency Medicine of the Pediatric Emergency Medicine Department at CMC Vellore. His publications including a retrospective study on non-drug related poisoning in the community among children from South India and pre-hospital trauma care in South India, comparative study of the practice of first aid and effectiveness of pre-hospital care over a period of 10 years in trauma medicine, trauma patients admitted in the emergency department, published in the National Journal of Emergency Medicine, deserves special mention. He's been conferred with the Dr. V. Balagopal Raju Endowment Gold Medal Award at the 46th Annual Conference of the IAP, ABCD Award from the Christian Medical College. His special and innovative software for pediatric emergency medicine, the PEMS software, deserves special mention. Welcome, sir, and over to you.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Dr. Thangapalli and teams, for inviting me this today's 13th National IEP and IGPP CME 2021. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk on CT head in pediatric neurological emergencies. So first, I want to tell that I'm not a radiologist, but obviously I'll try my best to justify my talk, which will help the undergraduate and postgraduate, and also probably the budding pediatric emergency physicians where the radiological investigations report may not be available immediately. So I'd like to start that before we go for this talk, we should remember that neuroradiology is often misused and a proper clinical assessment is very critical, and the knowledge in neuroanatomy is very essential, and radiologists lack clinical information. So what are the other neurologic imaging modalities we have? We have in emergencies like X-rays, neurosonogram, CT scan, MRI, nuclear medicine like SPECT and PET, and angiography. So let's start with a case scenario. Here is a 9-year-old child with history of road traffic accident 1 hour back, and child is now vomiting and also complaining of severe headache. Now he has come to pediatric emergency. So what are the investigation of choice? Obviously for this child needs urgent CT brain. And so what are the indications in emergencies? So when we like to rapidly evaluate the intracranial structure, this is the procedure choice mainly for the head trauma and stroke patients. And when you like to for the fine details of a bony structure, and when patients having a pacemaker. So common clinical indications are like intracranial pathology, when you're looking for head trauma, CVA, IC bleed, tumor mass, acute neurologic deficit, encephalopathy, suspected sinus infection, raised ICP, brain herniations, headache, hydrocephalus, edema, and suspected shunt malfunction. Also, when the MRI is contraindicated and when neurosonogram is inadequate and NSG is not possible. So how we should rate a CT when you are not a radiologist? So we should start from peripheries to center. We'll look at the soft tissues of the skull. We'll look for the bony calvarium. Then we'll look for cortical sulci, basal ganglia, ventricle. Gray versus white distinction, whether it's clear, whether there is any midline shift, whether there is symmetry in the both sides of the structure. So how to read CT? It's very simple way to look for B for bone for bright, air for dark, water for dark, CSF for dark, white matter is dark gray, and gray matter is light gray. And if you look at the pathologies, you look at the infarct, it will be dark. If it is bleed, it will be bright. It is a tumor, it will be dark. And when contrast region you used, it will be bright. Let's look some interesting CT slides. And here we see it's a vascular middle cerebral artery infarct. If you compare to the other side, you see that infarct will be dark. Obviously, the infarcted side is darker than the other side of the brain. And intracranial hemorrhage, it can be intraaxial hemorrhage or extraaxial hemorrhage. For the intracranial axial hemorrhage, it can be intracerebral bleed, basal ganglia hemorrhage, lobar hemorrhage, pontine hemorrhage, cerebellar hemorrhage. For the extraaxial hemorrhage, it can be extradural bleed, subarachnoid hemorrhage, interventricular hemorrhage. And let's look some of the slide. Obviously, blood will be bright. So here you see the lower hemorrhage. Obviously, the areas bright in nature, and it's indicate that it's a bleed. This is a CT slide for the basal ganglia hemorrhage. Obviously, bleed, B for bright. You can see that these areas there is a bleeding. Then cerebellar hemorrhage. This is the anatomical position for cerebellum. Here you can see B for bright. So obviously this indicates it's a cerebellar hemorrhage. Then ventricles. You can see this side ventricles are bright. So B for bright, interventricular hemorrhage. And very clearly we can see. And again, B is bright. Here we see subdural hemorrhage. Obviously, it's very clear that this is a child CT with a subdural hemorrhage. This is a combination. Sometimes it can be subdural, extradural, or it can be subarachnoid. So all the areas are bright. It indicates it's bleeding. Chronic subdural, what happened? Blood get absorbed and the liquid will be left. So chronic subdural hemorrhage, it will be dark. And this is a CT for a child with a subdural hemorrhage. Lens shape is bright. Obviously, it's indicate extradural hemorrhage. This is the area for pons, bleeding for bright. So it's a pontine hemorrhage. So this is a child with a CT with diffuse cerebral edema, where the loss of gray and white differentiation. So obviously, it's a ground glass appearance. Also, we can see there is subarachnoid hemorrhage. Next, if we suspect a child to have a CT brain and with a raised ICP or feature suggestive of a raised space occupying lesions or tumor, CT also very helpful. Also, I said tumors, they look dark without contrast, and with contrast, they look bright. So this is a CT with a cranial meningioma. Obviously, here you can see it is dark in nature. This is CT with astrocytoma. Again, tumor, they do look dark. So here you can see a CT child with a astrocytoma. This side, comparatively, other side it's dark. Then glioblastoma multiforme, obviously again tumor, they look dark. This is the child with a glioblastoma multiforme. Another CT with a child with craniopharyngioma. Here you can see again tumor, they do look dark. This circle indicates the area. This is where we can see a craniopharyngioma. And blood or contrast, they look bright. This CT shows a unruptured MC aneurysm, which is quite bright in nature. So now we know what are the indications when to ask for CT and how do you look for CT, but we have to keep in mind that there are some side effects, like children live longer and children more sensitive to radiations. It takes 20 to 40 years to develop cancer manifestations for them. And certain diseases like ataxia telangiectasias, where radiation can induce chromosomal break and increase genetic predisposition for tumors. So you have to be extremely careful to order. And what are the radiation risks? 2 or 3 head CTs can accumulate 50 to 60 milligray to a child. And for cumulative dose of 50 to 60, there is a 3-fold increase in brain tumor when performing a brain CT. And there are 3-fold increase in leukemia when red marrows are exposed. So you have to be extremely careful when we are ordering a CT scan. So what are the risks of excess in a lifetime? For a child who is less than 5 years, 1 incident of cancer can happen per 1,000 CT scan we order. And when the age is 5 to 15 years, 1 in 2,000. So we have to be extremely careful that this child can develop a malignancy or leukemia. So what are the indications for contrast CT? We know that CT scan itself is so much radiational hazards. So contrast CT, obviously, if you need a contrast CT, we should ask for MRI. But if there is a definite indication, especially like TBM, TB meningitis, suspected brain abscess, neurocystic circus, probably you can ask for contrast. So in conclusions, we have to say that choose wisely. So CT brain, it's an established technique to detect brain pathology. It's widely available. It's less cost, very good to detect hemorrhage and fracture and trauma. But there is some against point, the radiation risk, not as sensitive as MRI, not good in assessing white matter disease and posterior fossa of the brain. So we should also know, we should remember that we have an option for neurosonogram, which is bedside, economical, no radiations, image or views real time, and ultrasound require no contrast agent. Patient sedation rarely needed, but possible only in the first year when the fontanelles are open and it's operator dependent. He has to be experienced person and usually need a CT to confirm. We have nowadays MRI, so it's a gold standard to detect the pathology. No radiation, image can be obtained in all plane, but against scanning take longer time. Children need sedations. It cannot be used in emergencies. It's not widely available, and the cost. So the take-home points: appropriate use of imaging is very essential. CT brain can be life-saving, particularly in trauma, but use sparingly, and remember radiation effect. MRI brain is modality of choice in most chronic patients in neuro conditions, and less than 1 year, always think for neurosonogram. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You finished on dot. Please stay connected for the question answer session questions.